with that fever. I'm coming down with that fever.
Welcome to the Liberated Feminine Podcast. I'm Lucy Lampy, your host, and in today's episode, we are exploring the magic, the power, the healing and liberation potential of maintenance sex. Okay, but before I go any further with this, what do those words stir up in your body? Is it like a closure, a contraction in your energy? Does it feel like obligation, duty, or self-sacrifice? Because that is not the vibe, and that is not what we're talking about here today. Remember these words. Okay, feel into these words. Playfulness, curiosity, openness, presence, nourishment. That is the vibe. There is so much intention and devotion and fun and freedom and potential for healing in maintenance sex. Now, what I mean by maintenance sex, okay, what is this even? What is this? Those of you who have been in long-term relationships, and let's say if you're with someone longer than like 3 to 6 months. So basically long enough for the NRE, the new relationship energy, to not be as like, even those who start with the most passionate, chemistry-filled sex lives, you will eventually get to a place where, it's not as spontaneous. There is more intention. And I'm not even talking about scheduled sex. Don't even get me started on that, maybe in another episode, because I'm not for the scheduled sex container, but I am 1,000% down for that scheduled erotic space. And there is a difference, especially for whoever in each relationship is the lower desire partner, because that removes the pressure from everything having to escalate to full on penetrative sex, let's say, okay? Because there are so many different ways to have sex, and we know this, but again, that is even another conversation to have. But when we're talking about maintenance sex, what I mean is that it's not as spontaneous as maybe it was at the beginning of that relationship, or in like a heightened season of a lot of new sexual or erotic discovery. And for this, we also need to understand and maybe revisit the themes of spontaneous desire versus responsive desire. And those of you who are not familiar with that, basically spontaneous desire, let's say you just randomly have the lustful feeling or that urge for sex, or you're just randomly horny. You're like, oh, I'm ready to go. I'm feeling it. Whereas with responsive desire, it's like when you don't feel like going to the gym, and you know that it's going to be good for you. You know that you're not going to regret it. You know that after you're going to be so glad that you did it. But it's kind of, the process of getting into it. That's responsive desire. As you're getting into it, as you're starting it, as you're just seeing, what's coming alive in you, what's there. Again, this is that presence piece. Then you begin to get more sexually aroused and turned on. And so what I find for a lot of women, and I don't want to limit this to just women, because I know plenty of men who are the lower desire partners in their relationships. And so I just want to remove the stigma around that, because also a lot of men are just expected to be ready to go and to just be these sexual deviants all the time. Like they're just horny all the time. And if they're not, there's something wrong with them. And that is just not true. And so I do want to just mention that as well. But I do see in my work over these many years with couples that it tends to be the women who are more overstimulated and overtouched and just overwhelmed and feeling like the whole house is screaming at them with more shit to do. So it tends to be, I have seen a theme here, mostly women who have this less spontaneous desire and more responsive desire. And so whatever is normal for you, I just want you to normalize that. to be okay to accept that, and not to just settle like this is how I am, but to see that as an invitation and an opportunity to access deeper parts of yourself. So again, let's say we revisit the exhausted mom. I've been there. I know I get it. I still get it. The exhausted mom who just feels like she has nothing left to give for maintenance sex. And first of all, that right there is a really good place to begin. When it feels like I have to give more. Now I'm being required to give more. Now I'm being obligated to put out. And you know what really shifted my entire relationship with not only my body and sex, but my whole sexuality, just how I view sexual energy, how I experience it in my body, how all of that really shifted for me within my previous relationship, my 17-year marriage, right? We went through a lot of different seasons with that within sex itself. And what fundamentally shifted my own experience of this was making that shift from, okay, this is something I have to give, something I'm obligated to put out, and really, and not just telling myself this, but really reinforcing and seeing the truth of this through my self-pleasure practice, that my experience of pleasure and being desired and wanted and ravished and whatever, all the things, is nourishment to me. It's me getting to receive. It's me being filled with more life instead of, now I have to give. So for those ladies out there, I have talked to so many of you, and this is a really, really hot topic, a very common topic. And we could dissect this for hours. Okay, we could go on and on about this topic for hours. And I have with friends, with groups. I love this shit. I love it. But for the purpose of this episode, here's what I want to emphasize is really seeing just kind of completely from the selfish standpoint, what's in it for me? So whoever the lower desire partner is in your relationship, whether that's you or that's your partner, for that person to ask themselves, like, what do I have provided for me? What's provided for me through sex? A lot of people are never ask themselves that. A lot of people never ask their partners that. It's like, what do you get out of sex? Sometimes we need to, a lot of us, we need to feel that connection before we feel open to a sexual experience. And some of us will feel more connected through sex. And so that can be a little bit of a cat and mouse game, because what tends to happen in partnerships, yin and yang, is that one partner tends to be more of one and one is more of the other. But I find that all humans, the fundamental need beneath that is connection, is to be seen and experienced and known, and not just like, oh, okay, cool, this is how you are, but to be celebrated for who you are and to allow the space for that to happen. And that is one of the really powerful healing opportunities in this maintenance sex concept, right? As a practice, as a devotional act of love, not as something that you are doing as a favor for your partner, not as something that your partner is doing as a favor to you, but as something that is cultivating and nourishing something so much bigger than both of you. It's the life force. It's what separates roommates from lovers. And I also want to point out that another healing opportunity in seeing maintenance sex as this beautiful, necessary, not necessary like you have to do it, or like some other thing you have to check off your list. That's not hot. That's not going to be fun. But whatever those bigger vision why words are for you that really deeply resonate with you, another reason that it's so powerful is because consistency is healing. Relate this to, the inner child within all of us that not only wants to be tolerated or accepted, but actually celebrated and loved for who they are. And when they have a parent that is inconsistent, that one day will just be, loving and caring and attentive and listening and providing those deep emotional needs, and then they don't know when they're going to do it again. It just disappears for days or a week or weeks. No wonder so many adults are walking around with all these attachment issues as we've come to know them, right? As all these attachment pains. Because when it is so inconsistent, then it gets to a point where when that child is having that parent's attention, almost like all they can really think about is, oh my God, I don't know when I'm going to have this again. So I like it feels scarce. There's a scarcity around it instead of this feeling of safety and security and abundance of, hey, if I don't get everything shared that I want to share in this one conversation or interaction with my parent, there will be another opportunity later, today or tomorrow, and the day after that. And I know that this might seem completely random and unrelated to what does this have to do with maintenance sex, but it has everything to do with maintenance sex, because inside of every partner is that tender, vulnerable little heart, a really, really big heart, the biggest heart, when we still kept it completely open before we learned to shut down and protect ourselves and all that bullshit, but honestly, we do that to protect ourselves and keep ourselves safe. So it is smart, but it is not the thing that allows us to get what we really deeply want, which is connection and deep intimacy and to be seen and known. And that requires so much courage and vulnerability. It is the hardest thing to open ourselves to actually let our deepest desires be seen, to let our longing be experienced and to be witnessed, without any guarantee of having anything fulfilled. And so that tender inner child heart is still just unconsciously, inevitably, maybe you're conscious of this, regardless, there's that part of us that is looking, scanning for that consistency, for the safety of that consistency of, is this emotional need going met? Not just every other Tuesday or like every 5 days or whatever, but do I feel wanted? And so a big thing about maintenance sex, even if you're not like ripping and raring, ready to go every time, is that it allows the space to just be present with what's coming alive. You might feel like you're too stressed at the beginning of the encounter to even imagine yourself fully ready for an orgasm. Right? You might not even just so disconnected from the possibility of that it's like, oh, that feels so far away. And to try to get your mind to go into that space feels like a lot of work and a lot of stress and a lot of pressure. So what can you do instead? Soften, open, be present with what's alive in that moment. And for the other partner that maybe is maybe just like ready to go, you've got to be patient. All right? Be even more intentional with your presence. Engage all of the senses. See where the energy is taking you. Feel and attune to your partner's energy. Don't just go through the motions. Don't just do what you did last time. Every single time is, in fact, a brand new experience. But the thing is that often when you're with the same person for a long, amount of time, for over time, you get into a routine. You kind of get stuck in a rut. It's like, this is what works. And so we're just going to keep doing what works. And you're recreating the past. You're projecting the past into the present, and then it's going to continue on into the future. And that's why, for me, in my perspective and my experience, this concept of maintenance sex can be so liberating, because when you show up to each experience with deep presence, no attachment to certain outcomes or expectations, and a curiosity, even ask yourself this question: what can I learn about my partner in this? What is an experience that, even just like a 2 millimeter shift, not literally, well, maybe if you're not like quite on the clit, right? But what is that even emotional or mental, like 2 millimeter shift that can completely shift this experience? And sometimes it is literally just taking pressure off of the whole thing. Like, you need to come in this way, or I need to come, and we need to come at the same time. It needs to be better than last time. And if it's not continually progressing better and better, then we're failing as sexual partners. Like, no, leave all that bullshit at the door. Okay, do not bring that into the space. And you'd be surprised at what can happen. You'll be surprised. I'll just leave it at that. But also remember that in these spaces, especially for those who have had painful sexual experiences or trauma that is still kind of lingering in your body, what this experience of maintenance sex, consistently showing up in that space together and seeing what's coming alive, the consistency of that helps to actually clear out these energies from your body. It helps to kind of flush them out. It's like, because you think about it, you're in this space of deep connection and presence and surrender, and removing all the, dissolving this resistance to love, to feeling good, to being seen. Oh my God, it's everything that we really deeply, deeply want. It's what we deeply desire and long for in our lives, in general. But this is a space where you get to have a little micro experience of that and embed that feeling into your physical body. And I'm telling you, it does change you. It does heal you. And it's just like, you go to the gym. Again, this example, it relates so hard. I mean, so directly, not hard, like hard and easy, but it's like, it really hits home that it's going to make you healthier and stronger. If you're doing these workouts or these movements, these things for your physical body, that are building strength, stamina, etc., whatever you're doing for your exercise, your activity. But on an emotional and spiritual and psychological level, that's exactly what you're doing with maintenance sex. So I want to leave you with that. And I know that that's a lot of different angles that we could go so much deeper into. So if you are ready to begin exploring more with your partner from home, maybe trying out some different erotic play challenges, some ideas, something that just diffuses the pressure from this needs to be the sex that we're usually having. And if it's not the full gourmet meal, then I just don't want to do it. If you want to begin exploring some ideas on how to connect with your partner emotionally and diffusing those walls of, that may have come up over time. And if you're curious to begin exploring more of your own nourishment through self-pleasure and your erotic liberation as a woman, then go to lucylampy.com, and there you will see my erotic liberation bundle, which includes the self-pleasure course, as well as the Keep Coming intimacy bundle for couples, which includes just all kinds of goodies, but one of which is my erotic play challenges and 50 naughty questions for couples that want to go deeper into their spicy connection. And as you do explore those resources, I would love to hear your stories. So feel free to email me at support@thewildawakening.com. And until next time, here's to liberating your wild feminine heart.
Bring the bass, give me a taste, lay me to waste. I'm your little plaything. I got to feel